Hi, I'm Dan from Gladiators. Today, I'm looking at Brave New World. Well, I may have already looked at it, but I'm doing a review of Brave New World. So, this book was written by Aldous Huxley. I probably butchered that name, but who knows. Alright, and it's a book about a dystopian future. Alright, they use a different type of thing now. Whereas we are known with a BC or BCE or AD or ACE, they use a thing called AF, which means after Ford. The actual year is 2540 from if you go by today's calendar and stuff like that. The book is set in a dystopian future where the thing is people are separated into several different classes, or castes as they call them. Alright, there's the alphas, the betas, the gammas, the deltas, and the epsilons. And in this future, nobody can get pregnant. People are born in like these facilities and labs and stuff like that, and they choose which ones of these babies will be put into what castes from birth. So you really get to choose what type of life you're going to have. It's chosen from you from the point of birth. And to describe the different castes, alphas are kind of like the high society, the rich, the powerful, and stuff like that. Just below that, kind of like the middle class, are the betas. They have a lot of freedom and are somewhat intelligent, but they still have to work for a living. Below them are the gammas. The gammas are made to be a little stupider than the betas or the alphas, and they are mainly put into like service jobs. Below them are the deltas. The deltas are meant to be kept isolated and become docile, and are also programmed to hate books, so they don't really read very well. And they are basically the ones that are made at crafting stuff. They come up with ideas and good at crafting, like flower arrangements and stuff like that. It's an example they use in the book. And on the very bottom rung of society are the epsilons. The epsilons are made to be dumb. They're not made to be intelligent at all, and are just meant to be put into menial labor jobs. And that's basically how all society works here. The book has a few main characters that we follow of their story and their journey. But the two I want to talk about of the book are Bernard and John. Those are the two that we follow the most. Bernard is an alpha, but he's considered a misfit amongst the alphas. Alphas are meant to look like attractive, strong, powerful, and intelligent. He's kind of considered a little short, scrawny, and a little weak. Also, he seems to be a bit of a coward sometimes. We see the things that he does not like the alpha caste, and he kind of has a lot of problems with his own group. But later on in the book, he reveals to be kind of a hypocrite, because he does gain some celebrity status that he begins to actually revel in, and doesn't really seem to have a problem with the things that he did before, kind of turning his back on what he said previously. The other is John. John is what's considered a savage. Savages are people who practice the old ways, like, marriage, birth, and stuff like that. They kind of don't do what the people have began to do, and do what we kind of do today. So it's kind of hard to explain. So like what we consider normal today is considered not normal in the future, and that's what the savages are, people who practice the old ways. We focus on both those things. John tries to get into the new society, but doesn't seem to work. And his story ends up pretty tragic. We also learn the thing is that there's these islands where people who are considered social outcasts are placed. They are put there because people don't like them. The thing is, they seem to be socially exiled from the rest of the world. John ends up going to one of these things, and we see what happens to him. I don't want to spoil the end of the book, because John has a big part in it, as well as Bernard. But Bernard's story ends a bit better than I would say John's does. Alright, but Bernard kind of ends up playing into the society that he once despised. The book Also contains a lot of drug use and orgies. It's not anything explicit, but it's kind of like something you would see like in an R-rated movie. All right, there is some depictions of certain acts. I'm not going to say what any of them are, because we try to keep it like PG-13 here. But there are a lot of those within this book, because in the society, drugs don't really have the same effect as they do today. They're not really that bad, and a lot of people seem to take them. And sex is basically considered an activity. It's not a really intimate act anymore. And those two things kind of go together because there are some drugs that to ignite sexual arousal for them to participate. So it kind of there's like the kind of the whole thing in there. There's a lot more that goes on in the book too. That I could try and go into detail to, but going into detail about every single thing in this book will take a long time. But it is a fascinating read and a fascinating look at a dystopian future. And the thing is, like, people can kind of draw their own conclusions of what the book was trying to mean. People say it's the opposite of George Orwell's 1984. And I can kind of see where they're coming from. You know, the theme's of Big Brother. But basically, this is like where the thing is the system has already won. And the thing is, this is society built from a system that, wanted to segregate its people and, oppress them. And the thing is, they've kind of already won. Is it a good future? No. But the thing is, it makes for an interesting read. If you like dystopian future and stuff like that, then I definitely recommend checking out Brave New World. It's a really good read. I enjoyed it way more than I thought it was going to be. So, I definitely recommend reading it. If you like the video, give it a like and possibly subscribe. And leave a comment of anything if you want to as well. These are all completely optional, but we highly recommend that you do so. Until next time, keep reading.